A couple has rare twins and how they appear now will amaze you. When Sarah first held her two daughters, the hospital room became completely quiet, not from worry but from wonder. The baby girls, delivered just minutes apart, had skin like white porcelain that was nearly see-through. Their hair looked like fresh snow, silky and delicate. Even their tiny eyelashes and eyebrows almost vanished under the bright hospital lights. The nurses exchanged surprised glances. A pediatric specialist came over quietly, but Sarah stayed calm. She held them against her chest, trembling with deep emotion, and whispered, "They're absolutely perfect." Several hours later, the medical team delivered the news. Baby Emma and Lily had been born with oculocutaneous albinism, a rare genetic condition that prevents the body from producing melanin in the skin, eyes, and hair. It occurs in fewer than 1 in 17,000 births. But for identical twins to both have albinism was extraordinarily uncommon. David, their father, stared in shock as he tried to process the doctor's explanation. "Are they going to be all right?" he asked aloud, cradling one of his tiny daughters and feeling the warmth of her skin against his hands. "They are completely healthy," the doctor assured him confidently. "However, they will always need protection from sunlight, and their vision may have some challenges." Sarah gave a small nod, already gently pulling the baby blanket over her daughter's head to shield her from the overhead lights. They had no idea how uniquely beautiful and challenging their journey as parents was about to become. Over the following weeks, it became clear that both twins were developing well. They held up their heads earlier than expected, tracked objects with their eyes, and made sweet cooing sounds back and forth as if they shared a private language. But even in those peaceful early days, the stares were overwhelming. When they went grocery shopping, strangers would peer into the stroller. "Do those babies have albinism?" one person asked in a hushed tone. Sarah met their eyes and answered calmly, "Yes, they have albinism," choosing her words carefully. Not everyone was kind. Someone muttered as they passed, "They look like little ghosts." Another woman asked, "Were they born premature? They don't look fully developed." David felt his muscles tense with anger more times than he could count. By the time the babies were 6 months old, Sarah had stopped taking them to crowded playgrounds. By 8 months, both girls had matching UV-blocking glasses, oversized sun hats, and industrial-strength sunscreen stocked in every room of the house. There was no shame in their precautions. They were simply protective parents. Still, the isolation hurt. As Emma and Lily grew, their distinct personalities emerged beautifully. Emma was the bold one. She babbled early, crawled first, and once pulled herself up in her crib just to fling her pacifier across the room and giggle with delight. Lily was quieter and more observant. She watched Emma closely, imitating her movements at her own gentle pace. Together they balanced each other perfectly, like two halves of the same beautiful song. They comforted one another when bright lights felt overwhelming. They held hands during doctor visits. They developed their own tiny sounds that only they seemed to fully understand. Sarah was certain she once saw Lily glance at Emma before taking her first wobbly steps, as if silently asking, "Is it okay if I try this too?" But challenges arrived quickly. As toddlers, Emma developed nystagmus. Her eyes began to move rapidly back and forth, a common occurrence in children with albinism. Lily's photophobia was so severe that even soft indoor sunlight made her cry. Doctors recommended specialized treatments, adjusted home lighting, and custom visual aids. Sarah and David acted without hesitation. They repainted walls with non-reflective matte colors, installed blackout curtains in every room, and replaced harsh bulbs with soft, warm lighting that wouldn't hurt Lily's eyes. Some situations, however, couldn't be avoided. At a child's birthday party, one parent pulled their kid away and whispered, "I'm not sure it's safe for them to be here. Should children like that even be outside?" David heard every word. Sarah walked out with tears she refused to let fall in front of anyone. Despite the difficulties, the twins grew stronger in their own extraordinary way. At night they still curled up together the way they had in the womb. In the mornings they giggled in unison, tugging at each other's blankets before their parents could reach the room. They learned to navigate a world that often saw them as fragile or strange. But they were never fragile. They were rare and remarkable. One gentle morning, as filtered sunlight slipped through their shaded bedroom curtains, Lily took Emma's hand and whispered her first clear word, "Sister." Sarah, standing in the doorway, covered her mouth in surprise. She had once feared the world would never accept them. Now she understood, they would teach the world to accept them together. By their 4th birthday, Emma and Lily had already faced more curious stares, quiet comments, and difficult questions than most people encounter in a lifetime. While others kept wondering what's wrong with them, The twins were busy showing the world what was wonderful about being different. Sarah often watched from the kitchen window as they played in the backyard. Lily, in her big sun hat and blue dress, would spin slowly in a shady patch of grass holding a red rubber ball. Emma, ever the adventurer, would dash almost too close to the sunny edges just to test the boundary. They understood each other without words. When Lily's eyes began to hurt, Emma would gently lead her inside. When Emma felt overwhelmed by loud noises or new places, Lily would take her hand and whisper, "We'll go together." Sarah and David never had to teach them empathy or protection. It came naturally. Starting school brought fresh anxiety. The preschool principal looked concerned during enrollment. "These children will need special accommodations," she said carefully. "You understand they'll be very noticeable, right?" David's jaw tightened. "We understand they're noticeable in the most beautiful way," he replied firmly. It wasn't only about UV-filtered windows and soft classroom lighting. It was the fear that other children might not understand, that cruel whispers from strangers could come from classmates, that Emma and Lily might once again be made to feel less than. But Sarah and David refused to hide them. "We don't want them to blend in," Sarah said clearly. "We want them to be seen for exactly who they are." On their first day of school, the girls wore matching blue dresses and purple sunglasses. Emma held Lily's hand tightly as they walked into the classroom, little backpacks bouncing on their shoulders. Some children stared. One little boy asked, "How come your hair is so white?" Lily looked straight at him and answered, "It's because we were born to be special." Emma added with a grin, "Plus, we can see things in the dark that other people can't." The whole class burst into laughter. The awkward tension melted away. By lunchtime the girls were playing with new friends, showing everyone their special large print books, and laughing together on the carpet. When Sarah arrived for pickup, the teacher asked to speak with her privately. "I need to tell you something," the teacher began. "They completely changed the feeling in this classroom today. Not because of their condition, because of how confident and proud they are of themselves." Sarah fought back tears. "Thank you," she whispered. Days turned to weeks, then months. The twins adapted to school far better than anyone expected. But no one could have predicted what would happen next. The night before Hero Day, Sarah found the girls huddled in their room, whispering excitedly over scraps of fabric and cardboard. "What are you two planning?" she asked. "It's a secret, Mommy," Emma said, eyes shining with determination. Lily nodded solemnly. "We have something very important to do tomorrow." Sarah felt a powerful mix of pride and nervousness as she watched them work late into the night. The next morning, the school buzzed with excitement for Hero Day, children dressed as superheroes, astronauts, firefighters, princesses. Then the hallway fell silent. Emma and Lily appeared at the entrance, walking hand in hand with unshakable confidence. They wore matching handmade capes, cardboard sunglasses painted brilliant silver, and t-shirts with bold black letters that read, "Being rare is being real." But it wasn't just the costumes. It was the way they carried themselves, like they were about to change everything. Children gathered in a growing circle. Parents stopped mid-sentence. Teachers paused in the halls. The principal approached cautiously. "Girls, who are you dressed as today?" The crowd leaned in. Emma lifted her chin and declared, "We're dressed as ourselves." Silence stretched like a held breath. Then Lily stepped forward, voice clear and strong. "We are each other's heroes and we're done hiding." A parent quickly snapped a photo. In that single captured moment, two little girls rewrote their entire story. By lunchtime the school was buzzing. By afternoon pickup, parents were sharing the picture. Within hours it spread across the internet like wildfire. Suddenly people around the world were talking about Emma and Lily. Parents of children with albinism sent grateful messages. Teachers asked for advice on supporting unique students. A children's charity reached out to feature them in an awareness campaign. Weeks later, a package arrived at their door. Inside was a glossy magazine with their photo on the cover. Emma and Lily holding hands, smiling brightly, white blonde hair glowing softly. The headline read, "Brighter than ever, the twins who taught the world how to see differently." That evening, as Sarah helped them get ready for bed, fingers still sticky from celebration cake, Lily asked quietly, "Mommy, was it a good thing that we were born like this?" Sarah smiled, brushing a curl from her daughter's face. "It wasn't just good, sweetheart. It was a special gift." Emma snuggled closer to her sister. "We made people notice us twice," she said sleepily. Sarah nodded, heart full. "Yes, you did. And the second time they saw how bright you really are." Did you enjoy this story? What would you have done if you were Emma and Lily's parent? Encouraged them to stand out proudly, or tried to protect them by helping them blend in? Let us know in the comments below. Being different isn't something to hide. It's something to celebrate. Thanks so much for listening. See you in the next video. Have a great day.